Genesis 22, verses 1 to 24. 22. After these things God tested Abraham and said to him, "Abraham," he said, "Here I am." 2. He said, "Now take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and go into the land of Moriah. Offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains which I will tell you of." 3. Abraham rose early in the morning and saddled his donkey, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son. He split the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up, and went to the place of which God had told him. 4. On the 3rd day Abraham lifted up his eyes, and saw the place far off. 5. Abraham said to his young men, "Stay here with the donkey. The boy and I will go over there. We will worship, and come back to you." 6. Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on Isaac his son. He took in his hand the fire and the knife. They both went together. Yevon, Isaac spoke to Abraham his father and said, "My father." He said, "Here I am, my son." He said, "Here is the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering?" 8. Abraham said, "God will provide himself the lamb for a burnt offering, my son." So they both went together. 9. They came to the place which God had told him of. Abraham built the altar there, and laid the wood in order, bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar on the wood. 10. Abraham stretched out his hand, and took the knife to kill his son. 11. Yahweh's angel called to him out of the sky, and said, "Abraham, Abraham." He said, "Here I am." 12. He said, "Don't lay your hand on the boy or do anything to him. For now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me." 13. Abraham lifted up his eyes, and looked, and saw that behind him was a ram caught in the thicket by his horns. Abraham went and took the ram, and offered him up for a burnt offering instead of his son. 14. Abraham called the name of that place, "Yahweh will provide." As it is said to this day, "On Yahweh's mountain it will be provided." 15. Yahweh's angel called to Abraham a second time out of the sky, 16, and said, "I have sworn by myself," says Yahweh, "because you have done this thing, and have not withheld your son, your only son." 17, that I will bless you greatly, and I will multiply your offspring greatly like the stars of the heavens, and like the sand which is on the seashore. Your offspring will possess the gate of his enemies. 18. All the nations of the earth will be blessed by your offspring, because you have obeyed my voice. 19. So Abraham returned to his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba. Abraham lived at Beersheba. 20. After these things Abraham was told, "Behold, Milcah, she also has borne children to your brother Nahor." 21. Uz his firstborn, Buz his brother, Kemuel the father of Aram. 22. Chesed, Hazo, Pildash, Jidlaph, and Bethuel. 23. Bethuel became the father of Rebekah. These 8 Milcah bore to Nahor, Abraham's brother. 24. His concubine, whose name was Rumah, also bore Tebah, Gaham, Tahash, and Maacah. Hey, welcome back to the Bedtime Stories Any Age channel. Today, we're going to look at Genesis 22, verses 1 to 24. So let's talk about what it has taught and what we have learned. This is not a full chapter study, but more of a Cliff Note version, as we look at each verse and see what we can learn from it. So let's jump right in there into Genesis chapter 22, verse 1. Now the Lord tested Abraham. So he said to him, "Take now your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the land of Moriah and offer him there as a burnt offering." So it was on the 3rd day that Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off, a ram caught in a thicket. And he went and took the ram, offered him up for a burnt offering instead of his son. Verse 3. Then Abraham called the name of the place, "The Lord will provide." As it is said to this day, "In the mountain of the Lord it shall be provided." And Abraham's servant, that means the angel of the Lord, appeared to him again, saying, I am the angel of the Lord who spoke to you. Do not harm the boy or do anything at all to him. For now I know that you are God-fearing, since you have not withheld your son, your only one, from me. And it came to pass when Abraham looked up and saw that the ram was caught by his horns in a thicket that he went and took the ram, offered him up for a burnt offering instead of his son. And the angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time out of the thicket, saying, Lay not your hand now, I pray, upon the boy or do anything at all to him. For now I know that you are God-fearing, since you have not withheld your son, your only one, from me. So then Abraham looked and saw the ram. And the angel of the Lord said to him, Take the ram, this first mention of the ram, by the horns and offer him up for a burnt offering instead of Isaac, my son. And Abraham went and did so. Verse 13. Then the angel of the Lord said to him, I am the angel of the Lord who spoke to you. Now lift up your eyes and see the ram that is caught by the horns in the thicket. For I have provided cattle and a lamb for a burnt offering, and you shall have to offer them up for a burnt offering instead of Isaac, my son. Verse 14. And Abraham, being old and heavily burdened, said to his servant, Stay here with the donkey. I and the lad will go over yonder as far as the place of the sun setting, and we will worship, and we will come back to you. Verse 15. So the two of them walked on, and they went together as far as the place of the sun setting, and they stayed there all night. And there Abraham built an altar, laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Verse 16. Then Abraham took the knife to slay his son. But when Abraham was about to offer Isaac his son as a burnt offering, the Lord provided a ram and caught him in the thicket. And Abraham went and took the ram, offered him up for a burnt offering instead of Isaac. All right. So what have we learned from this passage? Well, first of all, I don't think God wants us to build altars or sacrifice anything, not people or animals. God tested Abraham. He passed that test, showing that he was obedient to God by going to the mountain. Lastly, the angel of the Lord appeared 3 times in this passage, telling Abraham not to harm Isaac at all. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. We would love to have you here with us as we go through the Bible. God bless you, and until next time, take a break, stay tuned, and keep watching.